Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of NEWSWAVE, written, produced and recorded in the heart of Cornwall by the team here at Chaos Radio. I'm your host, Tom Howe, and I'll be guiding you through some of the insightful guests and exciting news content that we've enjoyed across Chaos Radio this past week. On today's show, we join Lisa Telfer-Brunton, Marketing and Finance Lead at Cornwall Pride, to find out more about the events they have coming up, their community outreach, and how you can get involved. We check in with Community and Fundraising Manager for the RSPCA's Cornwall branch, that's Leanne Bawden, to learn more about their Paws on the Beach event on Watergate Bay, bringing dogs, families and fun together for a fantastic cause. As well as that, we take a trip to one of Cornwall's hidden gems, Tregothnan Estate, a private estate with a botanical garden that's famously only open to the public for one weekend per year, with Jonathon Jones OBE, their Managing Director of Trading. If all that wasn't enough, we hear from Cathy King, founder of Wild Wonder and Wisdom, who have launched a crowdfunder campaign to deliver a community water sports project in Portmelon near Mevergizzy this season. And we welcome Sarah Robinson, Programme Funding Manager at Shelterbox, to explore their response to one of the world's most urgent and underreported humanitarian crises.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, Cornwall Pride is set up for a fantastic 2025, with 13 community pride events happening over the year. To find out more, Henry Rosewell spoke to Lisa Telfer-Brunton, Marketing and Finance Lead at Cornwall Pride, to find out about all the events coming up, their community outreach work, and how people can get involved as volunteers.
NEWSWAVE.
I think I was really lucky working in the music industry that people can be who they want to be a lot more than most places. And when I came back to Cornwall, it was just before COVID. I ended up working for Crowdfunder during COVID, which is where I met Matthew first in the offices in Newquay. So it's something I really cared about. And when I came back to Cornwall, I really wanted to make a difference. Music industry is quite a selfish place to work. And for me, my values had changed from when I was in my 20s, and I just wanted to have fun to how do I actually give back and make a difference in the world. And everyone having the chance to be who they want to be is something that it really matters to me. So
I think you're onto it there as well. When you yourself sort of unlock who you are as a person, you want to do that for other people, don't you? You know, when you discover that power of self, as it were, and you go, gosh, all that wasted time figuring out quite who I was, actually, you want to then break other people through that door as well.
Oh, absolutely. If somebody could have done that for me and people in my generation, I think a lot earlier, then imagine where we could all be now and what we could all be doing if we hadn't had all those years of, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and this is it. So I want to know, to start with, tell me, what have we got planned for this year when it comes to Pride?
Well, we've upped the numbers again. So last year it was 11. This year we're doing 13.
Wow. Unlucky for some, but no, it's going to be lucky for you good folks. I know it.
Yep.
Tell me what's coming up.
So we've already started. We did Launceston Pride for the first time this year. We fixed the flag. It suffers a lot during our Pride.
So this is, hang on, for reference for those listening, this is the biggest, am I right? I don't want to make a claim that you can't keep here, but is it the biggest flag in Europe? Was it the world? What do I remember?
I think somebody else might have overtaken us now, but it is one of the biggest, so we'll go with that.
Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah. Takes quite a lot of abuse coming in and out of that box and going down 11 high streets every year, so quite a few rips and tears that needed to be fixed. So we did that, and we also created a whole load of signs and protest signs, activist signs that we can carry in the Prides this year. So that was a really great start.
Wicked.
And first time we were in Launceston, so that was fantastic. We've got Falmouth Pride coming up, so that's a biggie on the 26th of April. Followed by Bodmin Pride. This year in Bodmin, we will be having a sports day.
Oh, are we talking like egg and spoon race, sack race? What are we dealing with here?
Oh, I think all kinds of things like that.
Okay,
and
wheelbarrow
race. Lots of demos from local sports clubs. What we've decided to do this year, rather than having a generic model, which we've done in the years before, is how do we get to more people who don't necessarily want to listen to live music every time they're there? So how do we reach out to the community? So Bodmin Pride, that's a sports day. Then we're followed by Penzance Pride on May the 31st. Always an interesting one, that one, whether the gazebos are all going to blow away.
Yeah, I was going to say, just open to the elements down that way, aren't you?
Yeah, and then we've got another new one, Liskeard Pride on June the 28th. Redruth Pride on July the 5th is probably going to be my favourite one.
Why?
It's a Redruth tea party.
Oh, wow. What sort of Mad Hatter style? What are we dealing with
I
here?
mean, I hope so.
Yeah.
I am sure there'll be a few Mad Hatters there, to be honest.
A few March hares going around. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so that's going to be a lovely tea party. Let's pray for the weather on that one. We do have a marquee, though, so don't worry.
You'll
if
be
it
fine.
is raining,
You'll
it'll
be fine. Good old Cornish weather.
Yep. And then we've got Truro Pride on July the 26th. That's going to be another big one with the stage.
Yep.
Newquay Pride on August the 30th. Bude Pride on September the 6th. That's going to be camping.
Oh, okay. What's so like over the course of a weekend?
Yes, that's the plan. We'll have camping. So that should be
festival style.
Really good fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then Saltash Pride on September the 27th. We're having our version of a ramble, which is a queer ramble.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Yeah, why not as well? Different as well. This is the thing, isn't it? I think we get so in the ways, and sometimes it's the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But also just why not do something different?
Exactly. And then Camborne Pride, we have rescheduled to October the 11th. And St Ives Pride finishes off the season for us October the 25th.
Wow, what a season it's going to be then. But it doesn't stop there. It's all year round Cornwall Pride, isn't it? You're always up to something in that sense and always looking after people and looking after the community and that support. And tell me about some of the support that you do offer.
Yeah, so we've got the Penguin Soup Wellbeing Initiative. So that's a Safer Spaces initiative that we have. It provides safe and inclusive spaces for people in the queer community and allies of that community across Cornwall. And that's online. You can join our Facebook group, or you can come along to the live events that we run through the year as well. So aim really there is to reduce isolation and just make sure that people can meet people within their community and build relationships.
Yeah, I think, and again, that's so important to provide that space as well, I think. And a lot of the time it's that communication, letting people know that it's happening out there. I think people are quite happy to get involved a lot of the time. It's just knowing what's going on sometimes, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, that can be really hard, absolutely. We've also got where we can signpost people, so if anyone ever needs us, they can go to our website and let us know that they need help, and we can help them to either access help through us or point them in the right direction. And you can also report a hate crime on the Cornwall Pride website. So if you don't feel comfortable going to the police, come to us. We will help you then with that process of reporting it and supporting you through doing that.
That's great. That's a really important service to offer there. Again, like you say, some people aren't happy to go to these more official channels at time. You know, there can be a bit of a stigma behind them at times that, you know, we're certainly trying to break down. But to reach out to you good folks, knowing that you're a safe space to go to and a safe, you know, pair of ears to listen to as well is really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. We've also got some exciting collaborations. So we've worked with Boardmasters for the last couple of years. You might have seen our drag queens on the bus a couple of years ago, which was really good fun. And we also support their well-being as well within the process. And we should be working to bring in some local acts along with Ginger's Diner this year.
Yes.
So.
And talking of Ginger's Diner, that's been open a year now, I've seen on Facebook this week. They've done 12 months down there.
Yeah.
Brilliant news.
And they're doing so well, aren't they?
Love it. Absolutely. And again, it's that representation, isn't it? It's so important, especially down here in the southwest, where that sort of queer representation of, you know, certainly queer arts is sometimes not quite so as prevalent as other mediums at times. So again, really important that representation is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, we've got Out and Wild, which is happening in Devon, which is the UK's biggest lesbian, bi, trans and non-binary festival. So that's happening in June.
That's great. How did you get involved with that?
Good question. I think they dropped us a message, and really what they wanted to do is make sure that artists within the area are represented. They've got a fantastic mentoring program that they're running alongside the festival, so it's really important for them that they're representing within the local area that they're in. So we're working with them to identify acts that could play, wicked. And we're obviously going to be there representing and you know.
It's that classic, you know, not about us without us phrase, isn't it? There,
absolutely.
Where, you know, bring in the door, kick down the door, bring them in. Yeah, too right. That's exactly the Chaos way as well. Love to hear it. And you know, that sort of community outreach side of things. Do you find there's a lot, you know, without getting too into the need of it all? Is there a lot of need there when it comes to that in the county?
I think there's always need, isn't there? And there's always conversations that need to be had. You know, I think lots of people live in places where you might have one local pub and that could be your only community space. And if you don't feel like you can go to that pub because you've heard people being talked about in a certain way, then where do you go to, to
just
live
be
in
yourself,
your local
be
area.
you. Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think we want people living, not just existing. With all this going on, you need people. Right, this is what I'm going to say. You need people, you need hands, you need, people down there supporting. What can people do to support?
I think we all saw the sad news about Plymouth Pride a few weeks ago. So, they're struggling because the support of the community wasn't there at the level they need it to be this year. And we're all struggling, I think, at the moment, to make sure that we fill the boxes. So we need volunteers at the moment. We need volunteers on the ground. We've got Falmouth Pride in a few weeks' time. We would love you to sign up and volunteer, either for Falmouth or any of our other prides. If you want to do that, you just go to the website, head over to the top right-hand side where you see the funky pride colours, click on that, and you'll see a section called Get Involved. If you pop your details in there, we'll send you all the information on how you join and become a volunteer with us. It's really good fun. You can be part of running this event. We've got loads of different jobs, so if there's some things you don't want to do, that's absolutely fine. We can make sure that you do something that you enjoy.
And that's the thing, is I think just get involved, isn't it? Just throw yourself into it, see how you get on. Yeah, you can really throw yourself into it and go for it with certain things, but also maybe not do quite so much and take that step back and, shake are you even allowed to shake a bucket anymore? I don't know if you are you?
Well,
yeah. If you're there and you see them shaking buckets, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
You can shake them within designated areas, I believe.
If it's a personal choice, you can shake it, so long as it's not been an instruction. I think that's what we'll say there. Lisa, it has been lovely, lovely, lovely to talk to you here today. Thank you to you for coming here today. Thank you to you and the Cornwall Pride team for everything you do all year round, supporting the community, reaching out, and also, educating as well is such an important part of it. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Henry.
It's been wonderful, and I'm sure I'll see you at some sort of Pride event. And again, if you see me, no, you didn't.
I'm hoping you're going to volunteer, actually.
Yeah, about that. Right, funny that.
NEWSWAVE.
Now, we're going to hear from Leanne Bawden, Community and Fundraising Manager for the RSPCA's Cornwall branch, who's going to tell us all about Paws on the Beach, a positively brilliant event happening this May. Sorry, everyone. Paws on the Beach is back for its second year at the stunning Watergate Bay, bringing dogs, families and fun together, all for a fantastic cause. Here is Leanne with Chaos Radio's Janice Rose.
NEWSWAVE.
So tell us all about Paws on the Beach. We want to know everything. Come on, Leanne.
Oh, how long have you got?
As long as you like.
We're trying to make this year bigger and better than last year. Last year was wonderful. We were really lucky with the weather, but this year we've decided we are going to go all out. So we want to really make it a canine and family sort of festival, fun day out. So it's at Watergate Bay. Sunday the 4th of May, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And there's going to be a fun dog show. There's going to be face painting for the children. There's going to be games. There's going to be agility. We're also bringing some of our staff members and their expertise to the beach. So one of our training leads is going to be there to help you if you've got any behaviour and training support for the dogs, not the children, I'm afraid. We're hoping that it's going to be a wonderful, sunny, sort of family-friendly day at the beach.
So you say you've got dog classes going on there. What sort of things can we expect? Because they've normally got some wonderful titles.
Well, we did have some fun coming up with some beachy themed classes this year for sure. It was kind of seeing how sort of crazy and out there we could go. So obviously, because we're RSPCA Cornwall branch and we love our rescue dogs, we've got our best rocking rescues, and we would love to see some of our rescue dogs that have been adopted coming down for that one. We've got best sandy paw shaker, waggiest wavy tail, salty sea dog senior. So as you can tell, I love an alliteration. So yeah, we were having lots of fun with those beachy names.
No, it sounds fantastic. And you said that you've got your psychologists coming down, all the dog trainers as well, to help with dogs, but not children. If a couple of chaos presenters come down, do you think they can work with us here, Leanne?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that would be fantastic. I mean, I've got an education background, so you never know. We might be able to help.
Well, there we go.
That's even better.
Absolutely. That's what we need.
Not only the dogs, but the humans get trained as well.
I'm here with Harley Rowlands, Leanne. He's one of the community journalists and also one of our wonderful presenters here. Harley, what would you like to ask?
Yeah, why is the event important for the RSPCA Cornwall branch over St Column Major?
Yeah, do you know what? That's a really great question, so thank you. I think it's a real sort of mixed understanding within our amazing Cornish community about who we are. So they see the RSPCA title, and what they don't realise is that we actually are a separately registered independently funded charity who has to raise all their own funds. So we work alongside the National RSPCA and their inspectors, but actually we have to raise all our own funds for St Column, and it now takes nearly £1 million a year to run the site at St Column.
You're kidding.
So no, unfortunately, it's pretty much doubled in the last 5 years. And I suppose if you think about our own vet bills and our own utility bills and food bills, and you times that by the kind of 80 animals that we have on site at the moment, you can see why it's such a huge amount of money. So an event like this, every penny raised will go back into our centre in St Column, will help our community, our animals, and it will all stay in Cornwall to make the lives of our animals better.
I was going to say, I recently found out that the your branch, obviously over in St Column Major, was self-funded from a event which I participated at, and Janice did as well, for the Dash Hounds, which we've got a package coming up in the next hour to do with them, because they obviously once a month will raise money for you. And like I said, it was staggering the amount of people that can come to it and obviously generate income towards you. How else can people get involved and support the RSPCA branch?
Oh, yeah. So there's lots of ways you can support RSPCA Cornwall. So we've got a Facebook page, which is RSPCA Cornwall, and we've got an Instagram page, which is RSPCA Cornwall Branch Official. So if you're on our social media, you can share posts when we're putting up animals for rehoming. We have kennel and cattery sponsorship campaigns and lotteries, and if people want to go out and do their own sort of fundraising ideas, we can help with those. So if you head to our socials or our website, which is RSPCA Cornwall, and not going to the national charity, because that will take you in slightly the wrong direction. If you search RSPCA Cornwall branch, there's lots and lots of ways that you can help, and we're always grateful to hear from our community.
And it's not just monetary donations you do as well. It's I know people can donate like food and toys and bedding and things like that, can't they?
Oh, absolutely. We're very, very lucky that often the people of Cornwall do think of us when they are at the supermarket buying bits for their animals, or they've gone to a pet shop. So we have a donations place at the front of our centre in St Column. We also have 2 charity shops, one in Bude and one in Newquay, where people can drop off donations. People are often providing towels, bedding, toys for us, which is fantastic, because when we have so many animals needing our help, it really does make a difference. And we have just opened our brand new kennel block. So we've got 12 more kennels that need kitting out with bits and pieces to keep the animals safe and warm and comfortable. So we're always very grateful when people think of us at all in any way.
So you've been having some open weekends over the sort of last month or so. When's the next ones that people can come in and see the lovely animals that you have available for adoption?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So yes, we are. So we are constantly looking for people to come and adopt animals, and also we're looking for fosterers as well. We have a lot of animals that come into us that for whatever reason aren't able to be adopted straight away, and so we've actually got a foster event coming up next weekend. So if there's anybody interested in maybe fostering for us, it's something that I've done, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to do, because there's long-term foster options and short-term foster options, and the beauty of it is that you are getting full support from the centre financially and, you know, with anything else that might crop up. So if we've got any people out there thinking, actually, you know, I would love to help an animal for a short term. Maybe I'm not in a position to have my own animal right now, but, you know, I could have one short term. Then we would love to have some people attend our foster event, which is next week.
I mean, that's a really nice idea, actually. You'd never heard that before, but it's like, so you can help out, give you obviously valuable space in the actual centre itself, and they get the benefits of looking after a pet as well.
Now, Harley, I see you've got the page up with all the dogs. Yeah, who's caught your eye?
I've opened them up, and you've got some really lovely dogs and cats on there. I mean, looking at this lovely little cat called Smokey Joe, and who looks absolutely cute as a button, to be honest. But no, you've got some really lovely animals on there for sure. And where can people go to find out more about the event, obviously, that you run in the Paws on the Beach, and that event, and any RSPCA Cornwall branch events as well?
Yeah, so we do try to keep our social media very active with lots of information on there. So if on our Facebook page, for example, which is RSPCA Cornwall branch, we have actually got a Paws on the Beach event. So that people can head there to find out more. They can go on to our Instagram page. They can contact the centre directly if they want to hear any more. But I'd say our social media is definitely kind of our place where we try to get everything out. But, you know, if anybody's not sort of social media active, but they would like to find out more, they can drop an email or a phone call to the centre, and we can definitely get more information out to people. Also, it's on your What's On page on your website as well.
Yay.
So
I love it. I love this joined up nature. We do love that. And of course, we'll be mentioning it on our shows going forward, Paws on the Beach, and also the fostering any adoption events that you have going on. And we hope to get Leanne back on the show very, very shortly. Leanne, it's been an absolute pleasure, as always, talking all things animal with you. Thank you so much indeed.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and I just hope everyone has a really lovely Easter weekend.
Aww.
And that the sun makes an appearance.
Well, yeah, we're trying. We're trying to push the sunshine out of the studio via Hardy and myself at the moment. We're not quite succeeding because it's still wet stuff dribbling out there, but perhaps it's just liquid sunshine is what we're going to say.
Absolutely, and it wouldn't be Cornwall without a little bit of rain on a bank holiday, would it?
Not at all.
Very true, very true.
Well, that's a big thanks to Leanne Bawden, Community and Fundraising Manager of the RSPCA Cornwall branch, for sharing exciting updates. Paws on the Beach is happening on Sunday the 4th of May between 11 and 3 at Watergate Bay. To find out more, head to their Facebook page at RSPCA Cornwall branch. Every bit of support makes a difference.
NEWSWAVE.
Right, I'm Tom Howe and you're listening to NEWSWAVE on Chaos Radio. Tregothnan is one of Cornwall's most extraordinary hidden gems, a private estate with a botanical garden that's famously only open to the public for one weekend a year. Across April the 26th and 27th, visitors could explore over 100 acres of rare and historic trees, sweeping views, and world-renowned collections of camellias, magnolias, and rhododendrons. Joining us to share more on the story behind Tregothnan's pioneering tea gardens, though, was Jonathon Jones OBE, Managing Director of Trading at Tregothnan.
NEWSWAVE.
Tom, it's so exciting because Cornwall yet again is about to host the world's largest garden opening for charity. 26th and 27th of April, Tregothnan opens its gates for just one weekend, and it's going to be huge. I think advanced ticket sales are very strong. I think people are looking to get out and enjoy nature, enjoy a fantastic amount of flowers and mountains of magnolias in colour and rhododendrons and even see tea plantations. There's nowhere else in Europe that you can see tea, maybe even get to pick a little bit of tea for yourself.
Wow, there you go. Heard it here first. Tregothnan, like you said, is home to some of the most extraordinary collections, both botanically and tea as well. Possibly, quite frankly, in the world as well. It's rather beautiful. For any of our listeners who've never been, or anyone that's in need of a refresh, what is it that makes it so special?
Well, the fact that one family have lived at Tregothnan for 692 years it makes it incredibly special. It's a place full of rarities, and imagine a family that's been collecting rare specimens from all over the world for conservation purposes. We have now got some of the largest trees in cultivation in the world, larger than their parents, if you like, in the wild. So very important conservation collection. But all of that sounds very worthy, but it's also incredibly beautiful. And you can come and see many lifetimes of work in that garden. It's a huge garden as well, one of the largest private gardens in the country. And yes, it's doing important conservation and environmental work, but it's a great place to relax for a day, see the UK's first tea plantations and other botanical innovations. So people think, hang on a minute, you can't grow tea in England, or even, Cornish tea in Cornwall. And here we are growing amazing tea, and it's become very award-winning and very well recognised around the world. And this is your opportunity to actually come and see what tea is. And it's the UK's number one drink. In fact, Tom, it's the world's number one drink. You need to know that.
It is in my house.
Good. But by this measure, it's second only to water, so still ahead of coffee. And people want to learn about where tea comes from. And at Tregothnan's open weekend on the 26th and 27th of April, the Himalayan Valley Tea Garden is open. We'll have some of our guides there explaining how tea is made, and you'll be able to taste it. It's exciting, and people think gardens are just places to walk around and look at, trees and shrubs in colour. And yes, that's a fantastic thing as well. But also think about what you can take away and enjoy and taste, immerse yourself in the whole thing of growing botanical rarities that are very special and beautiful to look at as well as taste.
Can you just tell us a little bit about how the Open Garden Weekend is going to help support a certain local charity and different communities?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Lady Falmouth was passionately keen on the Women's Centre of Cornwall being beneficiaries of this charity weekend. So I know she said at the time that the team there, they're just remarkable women. They do such important and valuable work, really, to improve the lives of women and girls right across the county. And this is a great way of people supporting that charity. The Women's Centre for Cornwall needs help. The proceeds, in fact, all of the proceeds from the charity weekend will be donated by His Lordship to charity in due course. So, it's an amazing fundraising opportunity, and it's great that over the years, so many charities have benefited locally. And I think Women's Centre for Cornwall is such a worthy charity. I think you guys have worked with them, but they still need more awareness raising. So we're happy to help with that, but also really happy that once we've got through the weekend, which is a major challenge, we hope to be making a very huge donation to them as well as other local charities.
We do call it the world's largest. Just to put it into context, how many people are you expecting through the gates come next weekend?
Thousands. So already we've sold thousands of tickets, but it's important that people know they can go under the age of 18. There's no charge, so it's free to under 18s. Obviously, if they want to donate, they can. But, it's a very accessible day out, in fact, very affordable. And the forecast is not exactly beach weather, but it's fantastic garden visiting weather. So, people think, I'm not sure if I'm really interested in a garden. But this is more than just a garden. Think about the great food and drink that we have on offer. Think about the tea growing that you can come and see for yourself. You've probably never been to a tea plantation. Why not come and walk through tea bushes? It's quite an amazing experience. And knowing that all the proceeds, as I say, will at the end be donated to charity. So the whole thing of it being the world's largest, though, as you say, is based on the fact that it's a private garden. You can't visit Tregothnan normally, but here it is opening its gates, and from being completely private to being the most visited, as you say, thousands of people coming in 2 days on the Saturday or the Sunday. You can book tickets online via the Tregothnan website, or hopefully there'll be capacity for you to come and buy tickets at the gate as well. But also, if you buy a ticket for Sunday and then you think the forecast looks better for Saturday, that's fine. You can come on the Saturday. And, people bring their family. It's a family meeting occasion. A lot of people may never go to a garden in the year, and they think this is such a huge landscape that you can come and enjoy for lots of reasons. So it's the world's largest based on the fact that it's a charitable event, and it's not normally open to the public. So, of course, if you go to Kew Gardens on a busy weekend, you're probably going to get more people coming out of London to Kew than you would to Tregothnan. But they're open every day of the year, whereas Tregothnan isn't. So it's a very unique opportunity. And that's why I think it's grown over the years to become, as you say, the world's largest garden opening for charity.
It really is such a special weekend. A lot of people mark their cards for this very, very early on. But what about people who might have booked a holiday elsewhere and they're going to miss the weekend, or they've got a christening to attend, or I don't know, the in-laws are coming round? What's your message perhaps to them, and how can they find out more information?
Well, it's true, it happens. So there are ways you can engage with lots of Tregothnan goodies. So you can go on the website and have Tregothnan delivered to you. But also, like you say, people travel, and there's the river gardens, which are on the other side of the river from where the charity event will be. And that is open a lot more because we have better access, and the reading room and all of the experiences around the river gardens include key plums and orchards and tea gardens and a jungle garden. And it's a completely different experience because it's fully waterside and, as I say, much more accessible. So there's an opportunity to actually taste a bit of Tregothnan by going online and booking a river garden tour, or just driving down to the reading room at Coombe and seeing for yourself the range of teas and experiences. You might want to learn about Manuka honey, for example, where we have a Manuka honey plantation. And, people often don't realise that Manuka honey only is made in New Zealand, but Tregothnan introduced the Manuka bushes to cultivation, to the whole world, in fact, in 1880. And those bushes today have made quite a number of plantations, and we have over 90 beehives. Some of those are purely based on Manuka honey. So it's some very niche things which people often don't think are possible in Cornwall, like obviously the tea, but Manuka honey, and the key plums, again, very special, and they've probably been growing there for 300 years. Amazing taste, amazing history, and get out and discover what's on our doorsteps. It's a great opportunity, isn't it?
NEWSWAVE.
Now, a Cornish community interest company has launched a crowdfunder campaign to deliver a community water sports project in Portmelon near Mevagissey this season. Wild Wonder and Wisdom CIC, which has been engaging with community groups since 2019, is aiming to raise £10,000 to continue their work, providing access to affordable activities for children to over 50s, both in and out of the water. It's all about being active, improving mental and physical well-being, and enjoying our local blue and green spaces together. Their founder, Cathy King, joined Chaos Radio's Mia Howlett to tell us more.
NEWSWAVE.
We're trying to raise as much money as we possibly can to get as many individuals, as many different community groups in our local community around Mevagissey, Portmelon, Gorin area to get out and about on the water and in the water. Basically we're trying to introduce as many people to kayaking and supping, so stand-up paddleboarding, sea swimming and snorkeling as we can this season.
I love this idea. I'm someone that loves being in the sea, so for me, I'm instantly on board. And for those that may need a reminder, can you tell us about the aims and aspirations behind Wild Wonder and Wisdom?
Okay, Wild Wonder and Wisdom has been around since 2019, and what we've always tried to do is to try and facilitate opportunities for people, young and older, to get out of their comfort zones to try new things. So a lot of the activities that we have provided, they're not all water sports activities, but we try and get people to choose the activities that they want to try. So there's a whole kind of range of choices there. And then once people have chosen what they want to do, then we basically try and facilitate a safe, supportive environment for people to get out there and to try those things.
Yeah, and as you just touched upon there, you have already supported so many community groups in our local area, and you would love to continue to do that. That's from sort of children to over 50s. Is that the hope that you can open up opportunities for everyone to benefit from activities in and out of the water, that maybe there might have been some barriers before for them to do that?
Of course, yeah. So like I say, so back in 2019, I left teaching. And so my primary focus was still kind of trying to reach kind of young people. But as our journey has evolved, if you like, we've managed to get some funding for women's projects. So a couple of years ago, well, probably 3 years ago now, we managed to get some money to put on This Woman Can support group. And the general plan really for that was to kind of use the same model, which is kind of multi-sport, multi-activity, but rolling it out for kind of women who are over the age of 40, because often the same barriers are true for kind of, you know, youngsters as they are for slightly older people. It's about kind of feeling safe, isn't it? It's about kind of feeling confident to step out of your comfort zone, to try these new things and to have people that you can do that with, because often the confidence is an issue, isn't it? It's quite trying to do something new can be quite scary. And so definitely that's one of the barriers that we are trying to overcome. Another one of the barriers we're trying to overcome is obviously the financial barrier. So obviously Cornwall is an area of need, you know, financial issues in some places. And what we really don't want is for us to be putting on all these awesome activities for everybody, but only people who have got the money are able to kind of come and play. And that's not fair. And that's not what we're about. So basically every activity that we do, we have a kind of a pay what you can afford option, and all the funding that we go for is used to subsidise all the activities that we do. So that water sports, for example, we often put our sessions out there for £10 a session, which, you know, even renting a kayak or renting a paddleboard can be more like £20 an hour. So that's what we try and do, so that people are able to access, as many people as able to access as possible.
That's brilliant, Kathy. And I know that in this project as well, you're hoping to partner up with some other organisations. What could that do if you could partner with them? What would you hope to provide?
We're working with our active community at the moment. Chris Ballett, bless him, he's doing really, really well at getting adults with learning disabilities to access all sorts of activities that maybe the barriers have been too great before. So a lot of it is to do with kind of logistics. It's about timings in the day that they can do it. It's about group size, because obviously as soon as you make your group smaller, usually they kind of lose their viability, financial viability anyway. So it's about trying to make sure that we've got the right amount of funding and the right amount of kind of trained staff to be able to help everybody to access the beautiful blue spaces that we've got in Portmelon.
Going back to the crowdfunder now, obviously in these campaigns you get rewards if you give a certain amount of donation. And I love some of the rewards that you can get. You've got everything from a quiz, a ceilidh, beach yoga and so much more. Was the idea to have something for everyone to get involved with?
That's the thing. We're trying to provide rewards that kind of are a range of activities. So we're trying to kind of make it interesting to as many people as we can, but also to have kind of like a price, an entry level for most people's brackets, you know, financial abilities, if you like. So some of the things are running for a £5. So we've got like a butterfly walk with 3 Bays Wildlife. We've got a yoga session, beach yoga session. Again, I think that one's for £5 a session. Another group that we run is our active travel walking group, which is a walking group for over 50s, and that's been hugely successful over the last year. We've managed to build this really beautiful community. So basically one of the ladies, Shaz, who does the walking group with us, she was absolutely obsessed with this idea of getting a ceilidh together. She's done them in the past. She thinks they're the best thing. In fact, her saying is the most fun you can have with your clothes on, is what she says. So we were really keen to get behind this as an idea, and it works with all of our kind of philosophy from Wild Wonder and Wisdom. It's active, it's together, it's fun. You can dip in, dip out, you do as much as you want to do. But yeah, so it's going to be on the 10th of May at the Mevagissey Activity Centre, and we've got a ceilidh band called the Rosevilles Band, who are going to be playing for us, and we have a caller called Kate. And so yeah, I'm really keen for this to be a successful evening, because I think it encapsulates everything that we're trying to do.
And yeah. I know that you've already already engaged with so many individuals and groups over the last 6 years. I'm wondering if you can share with us some of the positive impact to their well-being and kind of their day-to-day life that you've seen over the years.
We have managed to prove with our projects that, we managed to boost emotional literacy. So things that we tend to try and measure are things like social skills, self-confidence, self-regulation, self-belief. But basically, these are usually there's 5 things that we try to measure, and we have successfully managed to prove that a lot of our projects, especially the longer projects, are able to have really positive impacts on the young people that come with us. And what's been really nice also is that because we've run some women's projects, we tend to call them reconnect projects, but we normally kind of manage to do those once every summer, and sometimes we get repeat women coming back to us, and it's just really lovely to see the progress that people are making and where they are a year later, and that's really lovely. So that's been really nice. And then also the other community groups that we've had, one of our ladies from our active travel community, she's 40. She comes on, she's a little bit older than 40 actually, but that's irrelevant. She comes on our walking groups, and she's so beautiful, such a lovely individual. But she said that our walks have really changed her life. She was feeling quite lonely. She was feeling quite disconnected, and her friendship groups had changed. And coming on our walks had given her a new lease, if you like, a new lease of life and a new friendship group. And so these are the type of stories that that make me want to continue doing what we're doing.
Personally, for me, I find paddleboarding a great activity for my own mindfulness, because really the only thing I'm thinking of is don't fall off. So that I can't be worrying about what the week has brought me, or what might come next week. And I'd love to know, Kathy, how do water sports benefit your well-being personally?
I have a real connection with the water anyway. I moved down to Cornwall about 10 years ago. And before that, I used to swim in the pool. But, and I used to visit kind of Brighton would have been my closest beach before we moved down to Cornwall. And, I had a bit of an affinity with it. But it was only when I came down here that I really discovered kind of how much I need it. If I go away up country and don't get to go near the sea, it doesn't take me very long to kind of realise that I'm having withdrawal symptoms. But it's all about that blue mind really, and I think it's to do with the fact that it just makes you feel really calm. It's really calming. It's really peaceful, and especially paddleboarding, it's just slow. It's slow. You get a different viewpoint of the water. The movements that you're doing are just repetitive, aren't they? And as long as it's not too windy or not too choppy out there, you don't really have to think about very much at all, do you? Just take in all the gorgeous blue, sparkly, twinkly water and try and see kind of what nature is around you. We're lucky enough in Portmelon, there's seals. I've seen at the bottom, sometimes on really beautiful clear days, you get spider crabs at the bottom of the water. I've seen sea urchins there before and fish. And it's just, how can that not be good for your mental well-being? It's just wonderful.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think that connection to the sea for many people is so important. I wonder if there's someone listening and they think, right, this all sounds amazing, but I'm quite nervous taking that plunge and trying something new. Do you have any advice for them?
I do. And the advice is just to send a message, just to get in touch with us, because we have loads of different ways of making coming to our clubs and activities and events as easy as possible. So, for example, I am more than happy to come out and meet people and go for a coffee and have a walk and kind of try and overcome those initial barriers to begin with. We also do kind of lift shares to our events. So that's sometimes quite a nice thing to do as well, because obviously then you're arriving to the event with somebody. So it gets over that kind of turning up somewhere new kind of all alone. That's a bit scary sometimes, but that is just to make that connection. Send me a message on Messenger, send me a message on my mobile number's out there. Feel free to kind of send me a message on WhatsApp. Tell us what it is that you're interested in doing, and we can help you find the right group for you.
That's awesome. Kathy, thank you so much for your time today. I love this project so much. And I'd love for you to remind us, how can we support this campaign, whether that's from donating or sharing information? How can we do that?
Oh, thank you. Right. So, yeah, we have been successful in getting match funding from Sport England's Movement Fund for this crowdfunder, which is amazing in itself. However, it means that we have a hugely aspirational target of £10,000 for this project, which feels really scary and daunting. But for us, if we can reach the 5,000 mark, then basically Sport England will then match us for the second £5,000. So we're really trying to rally as many troops as we can to support us. Obviously, check out the crowdfunding page, first of all. Check that out. There's loads of rewards that you can buy for friends and family on there. Obviously, donations would be wonderful. Any kind of size donation would be gratefully received. And then if financially you're unable to support us, that's fine. Please just share the message, so you can share the crowdfunder page with people who might be able to help us financially. If you've got any kind of, obviously, if we've got people in high-powered places that would like to support us in the future to help us to become a bit more sustainable, that would be epic and awesome. But yeah, just come to one of our events. Basically, come to the Ceilidh, come to the quiz, come to the yoga on the beach, and even if you miss the crowdfunder, just come to Portmelon at some point. We'll be mostly hanging out at the paddle shed. We're going to do We've got some great pop-up activities that we want to do. We're even doing things like table tennis on the beach, zorbing on the beach. We're going to do a beach silent disco. We've got loads of events. So just kind of keep an eye out for us and, check in when you can.
NEWSWAVE.
And finally this week to Shelterbox, an international disaster relief charity based right here in Cornwall. They provide emergency shelter and life-saving aid to those who have lost everything. Right now they're responding to one of the world's most urgent and underreported humanitarian crises, the conflict in Sudan. In response to this, Shelterbox has launched a £120,000 fundraising appeal to bring vital support to families caught in the chaos, not only in Sudan, but also in neighbouring countries like Chad, where many are now seeking refuge. To tell us more about the crisis, what Shelterbox is doing on the ground and how we can all play a part, Bryna Jordan was joined by Sarah Robinson, Programme Funding Manager at Shelterbox.
NEWSWAVE.
Well, technically I'm the Programme Funding Manager for Shelterbox and have a dual role also working on the Sudan project that we started a few months back. So day to day it's quite varied. It goes between working with different partners in Sudan, understanding the implementation of our projects, what the needs are and how we can better assist. And coupled with that, I'm dealing with trying to raise funding for Shelterbox so we can reach more people in need, talking to potential donors, writing proposals. And internally, I have quite a few meetings with the different project teams that operate around the world to better understand what the funding needs are and how I can support.
Absolutely. You sound like a very, very busy lady. For those who might not be aware, could you paint a picture of the current crisis in Sudan for us?
The war in Sudan started on the 15th of April 2023, so it has just passed its 2-year milestone, which is a tragic milestone to approach. The conflict started between the warring parties, the government of Sudan, and then the rapid support forces. And essentially, it's vying for power of the country and power over the military. This conflict is a war on people. It has impacted the majority of the country and most of the people that live in the country. 30.4 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance across all sectors, including health and nutrition, water and sanitation, cash support, food support is huge. 10 areas in the country have been declared as famine. And sadly, Sudan continues to reach disaster milestones and set records in humanitarian need. Over 12 million people have been displaced by the crisis, either pushed across border or to new areas in the country. It is the world's largest humanitarian crisis. It is the world's largest displacement crisis, and it's also the world's largest hunger crisis. So anything that can be going wrong in a country is going wrong in Sudan. And unfortunately, as the war has raged on, we do not see any de-escalation. We just continue to see escalation and the killing of hundreds of thousands of civilians and access being restricted for humanitarian organizations to meet those in need.
Absolutely. And with such a huge scale of displacement, I think I read over 12 million people, and obviously everything else going on in the context of the whole situation, how does Shelterbox kind of decide where to focus its efforts? Because obviously it'd be lovely to say you can help absolutely everyone, but sometimes you kind of need to prioritise, I'm assuming.
Yes, we do have to prioritise quite significantly, especially in a crisis such as Sudan, where the needs are just immense and almost hard to get your head around. We try to focus on the areas that are the hardest to reach, that have been somewhat neglected, where the access is difficult, where needs are proven to be exceptionally high, particularly in shelter, household items that we provide as well. And we could literally throw a dart at the map of Sudan and reach people that meet that criteria. So it's almost impossible to determine who is in the highest need. But we work with partners on the ground, particularly local NGOs, to understand areas that are not reached and that there is an opportunity for us to access them.
Absolutely. And what kinds of challenges are these people facing right now? Potentially they might have lost everything and they might not have anywhere safe to go or any shelter.
Exactly just that. Many have had to flee violence with very, very little. There was a huge attack in a camp in North Darfur last week where hundreds of thousands of people were displaced for the second time in this war. And I saw footage of them carrying pretty much just some blankets, the clothes on their back, maybe a few pots with them, but not much more than that. So their household items are just about non-existent. Being able to have a mosquito net or a blanket or a water carrier, they've lost all those essential items that we take for granted. And it's just a heartbreaking situation to hear the stories, to see the pictures and the videos of people just completely, their lives destroyed, and they've lost everything.
Yeah, I think it's quite hard for, it could be quite difficult for someone in the UK, for example, to kind of contextualise that as well and kind of relate to it, of course. But it's almost the difference of if someone has a water carrier that can help them out immensely on their journey and throughout the year.
Absolutely. It's one of the great things about humanitarian need and aid is that we get to make people's lives just that little bit better with very simple items, things that, like you said, we do take for granted. But in the context of Sudan, where water points are collective, there is no water points to people's homes, in the homes that do continue to exist. Having a water carrier just to be able to collect water for your household if water is available, it's such a small thing, but it enables an entire family to have access to drinking and cleaning water.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit more about the aid that Shelterbox is providing in Sudan and Chad? And we've kind of touched on a little bit about how it makes a difference in people's lives as well.
Yes, so we have just finished a project in North Darfur in an area called Tawila, where we have provided these essential household items that I mentioned, including blankets, mosquito nets, and kitchen sets and water carriers to 7,500 internally displaced people, where while the needs are immense, we've had to target those that have newly arrived in the Tawila town and in the camps that are there. What we would love to do is more than that. We have planned a project where we can provide shelter, where we can provide cash assistance as well as more household items. And sadly, given the situation in the world around funding, we just are struggling to raise the money to take these projects forward. But what we have done is at least provided some sort of positive impact in the lives of 7,500 people in Tawila.
And beyond donations, obviously this is what we want is we want people to donate. But however, obviously we know there's a cost of living crisis going on at the moment. How can people here in the UK support the Sudan appeal or raise awareness about what's happening there?
As you mentioned at the start, that Sudan is an underreported crisis, and some might refer to it as a forgotten crisis or ignored crisis, and that is the truth. There was a large conference held in London just last week on the second anniversary of the war, with different donors and governments and UN agencies and NGOs to talk about a way forward, not only on a resolution to the conflict, but also on the various funding requirements. And there have been some commitments from the government of the UK and others to increase their spending in Sudan. But as individuals, we do have influence, we do have power, and there are a number of petitions going around where people can indicate their support and their push to their local MPs to see funding increased, to see more support increased to NGOs, and also a push to end the conflict.
And if anyone would like to donate to the cause or even find out a little bit more about Shelterbox, can they do that through your website?
Yes, so shelterbox.org is our website. There is a page there on Sudan. There are very easy ways to click and donate. There are options for one-off donations as well as recurring donations. So there is, we do try to make it as simple as possible for people to generously give, and any amount, whether it's £5 or £500, will go to supporting displaced people.
NEWSWAVE.
Okay, that's all we've got time for on this week's edition of NEWSWAVE. A big Chaos Radio thank you to Lisa Telfer-Brunton, Marketing and Finance Lead at Cornwall Pride, to Community and Fundraising Manager for the RSPCA's Cornwall branch, Leanne Bawden, to Jonathon Jones OBE, Managing Director of Trading at Tregothnan, Kathy King, founder of Wild Wonder and Wisdom, as well as, of course, to Sarah Robinson, Programme Funding Manager at Shelterbox. And as ever, a final thank you to you for listening and helping support local journalism to thrive. To catch up on all our coverage, as well as to check out our extensive back catalogue of interviews and shows, head on over to chaos.radio. And remember, if you have a local news story that you'd like to share with us, email news@chaos.radio or search Chaos Radio UK across socials. That's it, you're up to date here on Chaos. I'm Tom Howe, thanks very much for listening.
NEWSWAVE.
Chaos.radio. Music, podcasts, entertainment.